A very good morning to you, my dear friends. Today is the feast of Saint Francis Xavier, a great saint, one of those saints, the world has ever seen. The key pointers on this person, I just want to bring to you this quick one because most of you know him very well. Most of you have visited Bomb Jesus in Goa to see the body of Saint Francis Xavier. His early life and education, born on 7th April 1506 in Navarre, Spain, came from a noble family with strong Christian values, studied at the University of Paris, known for intelligence and leadership. Friendship with Saint Ignatius of Loyola, met Saint Ignatius in Paris, who became his mentor. Initially ambitious for worldly success, but Ignatius gently guided him spiritually with the question, which is $1 million question: what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Became one of the most, the founding members of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, whom we have such wonderful priests who are more into education and educating millions of children and who are so successful in life. I am one of those children who was educated in this Jesuit society. Missionary calling, deeply filled with zeal to spread the gospel. He was in love. He was in love with Jesus. Sent to the east by King John III of Portugal, marking the start of his lifelong mission journey. The first mission field arrived in Goa. That is why he is known as the Saint of Goa in 1542. Preached among the common people, fishermen, fisherfolk, children, people, revived the Christian faith in Goa, built churches and taught catechism. Today, Goa has some of the most beautiful churches, and most of them built by the Portuguese, known for its simplicity, humility, and deep compassion for the poor. Missionary travels across Asia, traveled to India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, Malacca, and Moluccas, and converted thousands. Preached in Japan, learning the language and adapting to cultural customs. Very difficult for him to do that. Burning desire to reach China, longed to bring the gospel to mainland China, even though it was forbidden for foreigners. Waited at Shangchuan Island, planning his entry into China. And then he died on 3rd December 1552, aged only 46, on the Shangchuan Island. Died alone, but with profound faith and peace. His body was found incorrupt. Relics of course, are in Goa. His body was brought to Goa and kept at Basilica on Bon Jesus, where millions still visit. Canonization and legacy: canonized in 1622 along with Saint Ignatius, patron saint of the missions, missionaries, sailors, and India. Known as the Apostle of the East and the second Saint Paul, because Saint Paul also was a missionary like this. Key qualities: immense love for Jesus, tirelessly missionary zeal, courage to travel uncharted lands, humility, simplicity, and compassion, ability to adapt to culture while spreading God's love. My dear friends, this is his background. But many years ago, might be 6, 7, 8, I don't know, I'm not very sure, I visited Malaysia. And we were staying in a hotel in Malaysia when my wife said, let's go to the seaside. I want to go to the seaside. And we said, okay, fine. And we left. Now, we went to this place called Malacca. Okay? So, St. Francis Xavier, when I went there, she got off the car as usual. You know what women are good at, shopping. She got off and she said, I'll go around, have a look. There's some things here, let me try to buy something. So she went. And as I was standing near my taxi and looking around, I saw a museum. So immediately I said, okay, by the time she finished, let me finish the museum. And I got into the museum and walked into the museum. There was a huge painting on the wall of St. Francis Xavier. And there, down there, was the story of what happened in that place. Most of you don't know it, so it is my pleasure to tell you. Year 1552, St. Francis Xavier, on fire with mission to bring the gospel to China, arrived at Malacca. With him was Pero de Mascarenhas, the newly appointed Portuguese ambassador to the Chinese emperor. But at the gates of Malacca stood one man in their way, Captain Alvaro de Ataide da Gama, the fortress commander. Now this fellow was very jealous of St. Francis Xavier because people loved him. He was spreading the gospel, and the way he started looking around with people, mingling with them, and the way he was become famous, day by day became more and more famous with the people. Everybody was in love with him. When Xavier requested passage, Ataida refused. He mocked the ambassador's authority, dismissed Xavier's mission, and ordered the port to be closed. For 2 long days, Francis Xavier, respected across Asia, was left stranded on that place, humiliated by merchants, sailors, and soldiers. Yet he remained calm. He prayed, he blessed those who insulted him, and he waited. Finally, news reached Malacca. See, those days we didn't have phone, we didn't have anything, until and unless a messenger came across in a boat or something like that. And that the Viceroy in Goa had indeed approved the embassy to China. Realizing his big mistake, Ataide panicked. It was too late. Xavier was allowed to leave and continued his journey. Now here there are 2 stories about this. One is that he was stranded on a rocky land, kept there in 2 days in rain and sunshine. Okay? And yet he prayed for them. Yeah, humility is one quality of every follower of Jesus. If you don't have humility, you're not a follower of Jesus. And he was a very humble man. He prayed for his enemies. He prayed for all those people who did something bad to him. And go to see what happens is, the thing is, as soon as he left, he soon went to Sanchian Island, where he eventually died. But what happened to that captain? That Alvaro Ataide, however, paid a heavy price because he was arrested, stripped off his command, his property seized, and sent in chains to Portugal, where he died in disgrace. They say he even died of leprosy. He had a very bad skin disease, which he died of. Thus ended the man who tried to block a saint. We should learn a lesson from this. Every priest, I keep telling on and on again, please do not insult your priest. Please do not pass judgment on your priest. Please love them, respect them, look after them, be good to them, is what I say. Look at what happened. They did something to a saint and see what happened. That guy died. He was stripped of all his property and everything. Thus rose the legacy of Saint Francis Xavier, whose humility triumphed over pride. My dear friends, we have a lot to learn from this great saint. He died, he was not coming from any ordinary background, and noble background. And as like all of us, his initial plan was to make a big name, fame, money, everything. But Saint Ignatius of Loyola turned it around and just asked him, what is there for me and you to gain in this? If we gain the whole world and lose our soul, and this is what we should take the lesson from them. Please forget the things of this world. These things are absolutely useless. Please, please, please. You will die tomorrow, or whatever you have struggled for, you'll lose. You can't carry anything along with you after your death. What you go is into a coffin, you go into a 6 by 6 grave, finish. That is the last part. That also is not yours. And at the end, you can't go there by yourself. Neither can money take you. 4 people, 5 people, 6 people will be carrying a box into the grave or into the cremation. Please, my dear friends, be humble, take humility as a big lesson, and spread the word, which is very, very, very important. You are wonderful people. I hope you know what you are listening and what you are hearing. God bless you and have a great, great day. Happy feast to all of you all.